Здравствуйте. Я приветствую всех участников конференции.
Hello, I welcome all participants of the conference. I'm Mikhail Yurievich Strakhov, a member of the expert group on the examination of devices for the development of concentrations of eternal life PRK1U and PRK1UM. I want to present you the expert opinion. Scientific and technical examination of the conformity of the three-mode device for the development of concentrations of eternal life, PRK1U, and systems of 24 PRK1U devices and PRK1UM with the declared functions. Examination number 8, dated November 8, 2024. Name of the product subject to the scientific and technical examination. Three-mode devices for the development of concentrations of eternal life, PRK1U and PRK1UM. Product manufacturer. Individual entrepreneur, Grigory Grabovoi PR Consulting Technologies of Eternal Development, acting under the certificate of state registration of an individual Grigory Grabovoi as an individual entrepreneur, dated September 21, 2015, number 6398326, issued by the Agency for Registration of Enterprises of the Republic of Serbia. The applicant at whose request the scientific and technical examination was carried out, lawyer Viktor Anatolievich Borodin, registered in the Moscow Register of Lawyers. Information about the Commission of Experts. Mikhail Yurievich Strakhov, heat power engineer, diploma of the Energy Institute G1 number 213363, dated June 11, 1980, specialty thermal power plants, qualification heat power engineer, and the group of experts. I have been warned about the responsibility for the accuracy of the information presented in the report. Then, list of documents submitted for examination. The decision on the registration of an individual entrepreneur, Grigory Grabovoi PR Consulting Technologies of Eternal Development, from the APR of Serbia. Certificates of electromagnetic compatibility and safety of the three-mode device for the development of concentrations of eternal life, PRK1U and PRK1UM three-mode device issued in Serbia. Certificate of PRK1U medical device under ISO dated 2016. CE certificate of compliance of PRK1U with the European Union Directive. The next document, quality certificate ISO dated 2015. Then the certificate of the International Information Security Management Standard ISO dated 2013. The certificate of the Energy Management System ISO dated 2018 protecting the environment. Protocols of the results of volunteers. Collection of the results of the application of the device for the development of concentrations of eternal life, PRK1U, in two parts. Protocols of results on the use of video surveillance for three-mode PRK1U configured according to medical profiles through the website MedGrabovoi Tech. Agreement for clinical testing of the three-mode device for the development of concentrations of eternal life, PRK1U, between the Scientific Center and the medical institution Cadeo Alberto Ugo in Italy. Information about the use of the three-mode device for the development of concentrations of eternal life, PRK1U, in the medical institution Privatna Praksa Petrovich Ordinacija Neuropsychiatrie in Serbia. Information about the use of the three-mode device for the development of concentrations of eternal life, PRK1U, in the medical institution in Serbia. Information about the use of the three-mode device for the development of concentrations of eternal life PRK1U in the State Medical Institution Narodny Front in Serbia. Conclusions of the experts on the results of clinical trials of the three-mode device for the development of concentrations of eternal life PRK1U in terms of the function of curing diseases. Physics and mathematics theory, published in the journal Electronic Engineering, mathematical calculations, experimental results confirmed by a large number of doctors of physical, mathematical, and technical sciences who were members of the editorial board of the journal Electronic Engineering on 20 pages. Patents for inventions of Grigory Grabovoi based on which the device was created. Published scientific work of Grigory Grabovoi applied structures of the creating field of information. Expert assessment. Expert assessment of the documents submitted for examination specified above. Expert research revealed that the certificates submitted to the experts comply with the required regulatory documentation, allowing the use of the three-mode device for the development of concentrations of eternal life, PRK1U, in the countries of the European Union. The three-mode device for the development of concentrations of eternal life, PRK1U, passed tests for electromagnetic compatibility in the State Laboratory of Idvorsky Laboratories of the State Institution Institute Mikhail Pupin, IMP, which is subordinate to the Ministry of Science of Serbia. The tests of the three-mode device for the development of concentrations of eternal life, PRK1U, for electromagnetic compatibility were carried out in Idvorsky laboratories in full compliance with the Directive on Electromagnetic Compatibility of the European Union. Therefore, the received certificate of the normal parameters of the PRK1U device issued by Idvorsky laboratories according to the directives of the European Union in accordance with international law allows the CE marking to be placed on the device. Additionally, there is a CE certificate obtained in the European Union. Idvorsky Laboratories is appointed by the Ministry of Economy of Serbia to issue such certificates for the sale of devices with characteristics within the directives of the European Union, so there are no restrictions on the use of PRK1U and PRK1UM devices in the European Union. The report of Idvorsky Laboratories in English on the tests of the three-mode device for the development of concentrations of eternal life, PRK1U, with the conclusion that the characteristics of this device comply with the standards of the European Union, is published on the website indicated on the back panel of the device on the page. The second report by Idvorsky Laboratory on the testing of the PRK1UM device with the Class 1 laser. The three-mode device for the development of concentrations of eternal life PRK1U has passed comprehensive safety tests in the ANL laboratory with a certificate from the Vinci State Institute. The first page of the report contains a CE mark that applies to the entire device together with the mains plug with an adapter. A photo of the device with the CE mark on the first page of the report documentation. The report of the ANL laboratory in English on the tests of the three-mode device for the development of concentrations of eternal life PRK1U and three-mode device PRK1UM with the conclusion that the characteristics of this device comply with the standards of the European Union is published on the website on the pages. The certificates obtained based on these reports are given on the website. The website page is provided in the expert's conclusion. Information on inventions with patent numbers is located on the device body. The device is manufactured under the trademarks GRABOVOI and GRABOVOI. The study of the provided documents allows the experts to conclude that the three-mode device for the development of concentrations of eternal life PRK1U and three-mode device PRK1UM used in the field of education are not harmful to health according to the certificates of Serbia on normal parameters of electromagnetic compatibility and safety based on which the device is marked AAACE. Since 2016, the three-mode device for the development of concentrations of eternal life, PRK1U, has been used by volunteers for training and self-development. As a result of long-term regular use of the PRK1U device, the volunteers noted that, in addition to developing high concentration of attention, revealing creative abilities, increasing the speed of thinking, optimizing decision-making processes, working capacity, endurance also increases, health is normalized. The effects of restoring health from various diseases are recorded in the protocols of the results of volunteers on the use of the PRK1U device. The volunteers connect these facts directly with the use of the PRK1U device, both remotely via the internet and when using physical devices. The PRK1U device assembled as a medical device is not harmful to health according to the CE certificate of the European Union on normal parameters of electromagnetic compatibility and safety under the ISO 13485 of 2016 certificate, according to which the production of the PRK1U device by the individual entrepreneur Grigory Grabovoi PR Consulting Technologies of Eternal Development is certified as the production of a medical device. Based on the results of an expert assessment of the information located in the points listed above, from point 6.9 to point 6.14, experts can conclude that the use of the three-mode device for the development of concentrations of eternal life PRK1U cures various diseases. Cures for diseases have been established under protocols of results on the use of video surveillance for three-mode PRK1U configured according to medical profiles through the website MedGrabovoi Tech. Good results in curing diseases were established in the course of work under the contract for a clinical trial of the three-mode device for the development of concentrations of eternal life, PRK1U, between the Scientific Center and the medical institution Cadeo Alberto Ugo in Italy. The use of devices in a medical institution is established under the certificate on the use of the three-mode device for the development of concentrations of eternal life, PRK1U, in the medical institution in Serbia. The use of devices in a medical institution is established under the certificate on the use of the three-mode device for the development of concentrations of eternal life PRK1U in the medical institution Specialistica Psihiatriska Ordinacija Prim Dr. Med in Serbia. The use of devices in a medical institution is established under the certificate on the use of the three-mode device for the development of concentrations of eternal life PRK1U in the medical institution Narodni Front in Serbia. During clinical trials of the three-mode device for the development of concentrations of eternal life PRK1U for the function of healing from diseases, experts concluded that the use of the three-mode device for the development of concentrations of eternal life PRK1U cures various diseases. The certificate of the international standard for Information Security Management ISO 27001 of 2013 allows ensuring the information security of PRK1U users. The Certificate of the Energy Management System ISO 50001 of 2018, which protects the environment, establishes that energy-saving systems that protect the environment are implemented during the production of PRK1U. The expert assessment of the documents submitted for examination, as indicated above, allows the expert to conclude that there is not a single case of harm caused when using the PRK1U device since the beginning of operation in February 2016. When studying the three-mode device for the development of concentrations of eternal life PRK1U, experts concluded that the concentration on lenses, numbers, and on any surface of a physical device near a person, including light pulses of the third mode in the slots of the device body and in the power buttons, constitutes no more than 1% the area of the device, is not harmful to health under any circumstances. When studying the effect of concentrations on a static image on a monitor, including an image with light pulses on a person, the experts concluded that the concentration on lenses and PRK1U numbers and on any surface of the device, including the third mode, when insignificant light pulses are viewed from an area of no more than 1% of the device surface, is not harmful to health under any conditions. The conformity of the three-mode device for the development of concentrations of eternal life PRK1U to the declared functions, in addition to the evidence given in the previous clauses, is also proved by the following: physico-mathematical theory, mathematical calculations, experimental results confirmed by a large cast of doctors of physical, mathematical, and technical sciences who were members of the editorial board of the journal Electronic Technology and published in this journal. Patents for inventions of Grigory Grabovoi, based on which the device was created. Video test reports of the device with good system results, which were conducted by all 128 test participants, recorded for the tests without exception. Signed protocols of successful testing of the device. Over a 4-year period with hundreds of tests and operations of the device without negative results, with numerous positive results. The scientific justification of the method of developing concentrations of eternal life using PRK1U is given in the work Physical and Mathematical Methods that scientifically substantiate the methods of developing concentrations of eternal life using PRK1U, published in 2018. This work states the following. The following components are involved in the physical model of the development process of the concentrations of eternal life using the PRK1U device. Spheroidal elements such as lenses, crystals, elements that make up the electromagnetic circuit of the device, electromagnetic field, radiation of the operator's thought. All 5 indicated components are interconnected in a weak signal of the elements of thought emission. It is well known that a quantum video camera aimed at a person's head captures the dynamics of thought radiation depending on the intensity of thinking and the connection of thinking with the objects of thinking. This allows, by calculating the quadruple integral by the Runge-Kutta method, to calculate the angular coefficients that allow determining the mutual radiations that make up the overall optical and wave model of the physical process occurring during the operation of the PRK1U. Since in quantum mechanics, not only light, but any bodies, including any microparticles and microparticles related to the electromagnetic field, have wave properties, the equation describing one of the physical processes in PRK1U has the form of the Schrödinger equation, which is presented on the screen. Having considered the indicated physical process in connection with the equation given in published scientific work by Grabovoi, Applied Structures of the Creating Field of Information, E is equal to V multiplied by S, where E energy, B volume, S volume perception speed, we can calculate energy and speed of development of concentrations of eternal life. Physicists constantly use such idealized concepts as material points, point charges, magnetic dipoles, and so on. In fact, masses or charges concentrated at a point are not registered. In terms of material point of mass 1, it is an idealized model of a ball of sufficiently small radius epsilon and mass 1. If there are no other masses in space, the density of matter in space will be distributed according to a certain law related to delta epsilon from x. In the theory of generalized functions, there is a definition of weak convergence of functionals, according to which we can define the dynamic process of interaction of the weak radiation of the thinking element in the glass lens and interacting with the matter and shape of the lens. The external shape of the lens refers to macro processes and determines for the emitting outgoing signal the vector of its dissemination. Applying the theory of functions of a complex variable in the calculation part, it's possible to calculate how the weak optical signal of thought radiation reflected in the lens comes out of the lens amplified. To describe the connections between microprocesses and macroprocesses, it is necessary to consider organizing applied creating structure of consciousness as described in the scientific work Applied Structures of the Creating Field of Information. The division of consciousness into a perceiving part and a non-perceiving part organizes the two projections. The formulas are presented on the screen. Where M from T is the mass measurable time consumption, M from X, Y, Z, the mass of space, with the condition of changing the Z coordinate with a change in consciousness perceiving an infinitely remote area. The expenditure of the time mass is associated with a change in consciousness in the field of control according to the following connection, which is also presented on the screen. Where M1, M2, M3 is the time projection onto the corresponding coordinates x, y, z, T1, the time of the change in consciousness outside the area of direct, conscious, and controlled control, S, the function of consciousness, K, the interval of stabilization of consciousness when perceiving the acceptance of the formulas of the creating area. K is equal to M3 from X, Y, and Z. Z in turn from X and Y function. The mass of the event, measured as the total mass of all the elements of the event, is distributed over a time interval by the points of the interval restriction. Therefore, the connection between the processes of micro and macro levels can be found at the boundary points of the time interval of the control environment. G large from X, Y, Z, T is equal to G small from T in turn from X, Y, Z, where G large macro level, G small micro level event. It follows from the above event that an object that can control discrete levels of consciousness and perception at the level of boundary phenomena of micro and macro processes can create any information and consequently material environment. Therefore, the intensity of the radiation of the outgoing signal from the glass optical lens is regulated by the intensity of the radiation of the concentration thoughts by concentrating on the lens. As described in the publication Phenomenon of Psychophotographs Concentration on Shapes, a link to this publication is given. Concentration on shapes allows illuminating photographs with figures of the desired shape. Doctor of Physical and Mathematical Sciences Gerzenstein, All-Russian Research Institute of Optical and Physical Measurements, believes that the results of the described experiments don't contradict the laws of physics at all. He fully admits that the sensitive cells of the retina rods and cones have the property of reversibility. It's possible that they work like semiconductor photodiodes, which can not only perceive light but also become its emitters, LEDs, if a current is passed through them. In other words, the receptors of the retina can be both receivers and generators of some kind of radiation. Doctor of Biological Sciences Professor Simakov agrees with this version. It's not visible light that comes from the eyes, but most likely electromagnetic waves with an oscillation frequency that is not accessible to our eye. It can be assumed that something like an X-ray biolaser appears in the complexly arranged rods of the retina, acting in very short flashes. The role of the crystal in this case can be performed by the outer segment of the wand. My research has shown that if a laser beam is introduced into the junction point of the lens fibers, the so-called suture, when it travels along with the fiber as if it were a light guide. Perhaps the information from the retina is transmitted to the environment through this way. The eye works like a biolaser, like a magic lantern capable of writing thoughts on a screen. End of quote. For example, it was reported not long ago that Japanese scientists had already created a highly sensitive screen on which the outlines of images of people appear when someone looks at it intently. There is information about similar developments in other countries. The hypothesis of radiation from the eyes fits perfectly into today's scientific paradigm. The fact is that the illumination and exposure of the film with mental images occur even in cases when it is placed in a light-tight envelope. Proceeding from this, Doctor of Technical Sciences Chernetsky suggested that radiation from the eyes is formed not only in the visible wave range but also in some other range, in which the black paper of the package is transparent. Recent studies have confirmed this hypothesis. It has been proved that the human eye is capable of emitting weak X-ray and coherent laser radiation. It remains only to continue the logical chain. If these rays are modulated by some information, mental images, then it is quite probable that these images will be fixed on photographic film or photographic paper. Thus, by changing the forms of concentrations inside glass lenses, it's possible to obtain radiation from these lenses, including the lens located inside the device body of the desired shape of the developing concentration. It was proved by physical and mathematical methods and thousands of documented practical results obtained by using PRK1U. The wear and tear of the PRK1U and PRK1UM concentrations development devices due to the materials used is insignificant. The resource of the PRK1U and PRK1UM concentrations development devices is unlimited in time in terms of functions, as the device develops concentrations based on the current level of concentrations development during the time of the device application. On the basis and in accordance with the patent by Grigory Grabovoi, method for prevention of catastrophes and device for its realization, and other his inventions, where normalization of a controlling impulse is made, Grigory Grabovoi created the device of development of concentrations of eternal life, PRK1UM3 mode. The device is based on the principle of similarity to human body. It's the fact that the device itself has three main switches, wherein three main and additional modes operate. The device has functions of artificial intelligence. The first mode is universal. The second mode is amplifying the stationary phase of reality. The third mode is amplifying the dynamic phase of reality, impulse periodic. The impulse periodic mode is activated by the device circuit itself. Additionally, the laser can be turned on and the OLED display can be turned in the modes of reading the number series. One of the lasers is constantly on, and the other one operates together with the motion sensor that's installed on the upper surface of the device. When there is no user, the second laser's turning off. By clicking the button, a file is opened. The numbers recorded on the SD card appear on the screen. In the modified PRK1UM device, the following new functions have been added to the PRK1U functions in accordance with the wave synthesis theory created by Grigory Grabovoi. The power of the autonomous operation function without concentration has been increased. A small or short-term concentration increases much more than in PRK1U. Prolonged concentration is amplified by various progressions many times. The dynamics of matter works in a static environment through the SD card and LEDs. A static wave of reality in the form of volumetric physical matter and an electric current as a dynamic wave of reality coming out on a light pulse with light scattering into an external, that is, an infinite eternal environment. A safe, permanently active laser operates inside the device as a static reality wave with laser properties in areas of high radiation intensity inside the laser beam with dispersion through a lens into infinity, into the eternal environment. The dynamic reality wave function operates from a second laser inside the device, which is activated by a motion sensor. Through the SD card, by means of the board software, Arduino Nano realizes the transition of matter into an infinite eternal environment through the number on the display as a LED. Each mode of operation of the device in connection with the work of artificial intelligence is enhanced by the SD card. Using the numbers on the SD card, you can carry out concentration with the necessary control at the required level. Numerical series can be periodically added to the SD card. The numerical series recorded on the SD card is not deleted during the factory assembly of the device. Sublicensees can add individual numerical series from the author's works of Grigory Grabovoi to this numerical series on their computer. This ensures the development of the concentration of eternal life for oneself and everyone in the selected areas. On the upper surface of the device body, there is a compass with a mark of the compass needle location parallel to the beams of the lasers located inside the device. It is recommended to start the initial location of the PRK1UM when the compass needle is directed to the mark. Then you can select the location of the compass needle individually. The SD card, in accordance with the wave synthesis process, implements the transition of the electron to an infinite medium through the number on the display. The third mode, in connection with the operation of artificial intelligence, may require the use of SD card series, since when the third mode is stopped, concentration on the SD card numbers allows simulating the operation of the third mode. Comparison of the third mode and the simulated version allows for accelerated development of eternal life concentrations. In this way, it's possible to quickly implement control goals in an accelerated manner, developing and strengthening concentrations of mental event models. The new modified device PRK1UM has reduced dimensions 20, 16, 6.5 centimeters, convenient for mobile use, the ability to be powered both from the electrical network and from a portable power bank charger. The modified device PRK1UM differs in detail from PRK1U by the presence of the following parts, providing additional functions of PRK1UM. First, Arduino Nano V3 boards, AT-MEGA168, 16 MHz mini controller, CH340G chip, 2 pieces, which are software and hardware tools for building systems in the field of electronic and robotics. The software part consists of a software shell IDE for writing programs, compiling them, and programming hardware. The hardware part is a set of mounted printed circuit boards. The Arduino programming language is a C++ language with the wiring framework. The author of the implemented program is Grigory Petrovich Grabovoi. Second, SD adapter. Third, OLED screen for displaying numerical series from the SD card in text form. Fourth, LED for displaying numerical series from the SD card in the form of light pulses. Fifth, lasers, 2 pieces. Sixth, motion sensor. Seventh, compass. Eighth, micro buttons, 2 pieces. Ninth, switch button number 3. 10th, position switching button. 11th, USB connector for connecting the external power supply of the device. 12th, a power cord connected via a USB connector. The development of concentrations that provide eternal life for all is carried out by focusing attention on the receiver of the generated biosignal and controlling a result of concentration. In psychology, it's known that the more the concentration is carried out, the faster the goal is achieved and events are optimized. In the device, by superimposing fields from generation of a biosignal, electromagnetic fields, controlling for the goal of concentration is added to this factor of psychology according to the law of action of universal connections. The device develops concentrations of creative controlling. In the theory of wave synthesis, it's known that thought generated into emitting can simultaneously have 2 quantum states. One of these states is on the sensing element of the signal transmitter, and the other one on the signal receiver. This enables creating the devices of providing for eternal life that interact with thinking. In the Patents for Inventions by Grigory Grabovoi, it's written that information in the form of thought Emitting is generated by a human operator. For operation of the PRK1UM device, a person concentrates emitting created by thought on the lenses located on the upper surface of the device. Thought contains the goal of concentration. The action of concentration for the present and future time is performed on the sensitive element of the signal transmitter consisting of lenses. Circular movements of concentrations are made from a lens of a smaller diameter counterclockwise through lenses of a larger diameter. For concentrations related to past events, circular movement of concentration thought was made clockwise from a smaller lens to a larger lens. And the concentration beam was not from above, as in the case of concentrations for the present and future time, but from the side of the internal optical block of the device. According to the information transmission system described in the patent, the other quantum state of thought is projected onto a signal received located in the form of an optical device inside the device. Realization of the method of normalization during concentration presented in the patent method for prevention of catastrophes and device for its realization is carried out by superimposing fields from generating a biosignal and electromagnetic fields. To the factor of psychology, according to the law of action of universal connections, controlling for the goal of concentration is added. Conclusions of the experts. Based on the conducted research, it was proved that the concentrations on the formulated objectives when using the three-mode PRK1U device and PRK1UM three-mode device provided good results, especially with systematic training of methods of work with the device. It was found that the application of learning and self-development techniques in the development of concentrations using the PRK1U and PRK1UM contributes to better health. Facts have been established that when working with the PRK1U device, people reveal various creative abilities. On the basis of the conducted research, it was established that the PRK1U device, adjusted according to medical profiles and located on the side 3W Med GRABOVOI Tech through training and self-development, as stated in the conditions of use of the device on the website, contribute to the health of people and full recovery of the body, contribute also to the regeneration and rejuvenation of the body, which fully meets the stated objectives. The use of devices through the website 3W Med GRABOVOI Tech is provided free of charge, which allows you to deepen training and self-development to the level necessary for the desired result. No undesirable processes have been detected as a result of clinical trials of the PRK1U and PRK1UM devices, which are currently underway. The fact of only positive results was established in accordance with the materials of the tests conducted, set out in the reports. Based on the results of clinical tests of the PRK1U device in different countries, the mass use of the device physically and remotely through the internet on the basis of certificates, personal results, including the experts, proved that the PRK1U and PRK1UM devices is absolutely safe for use and fully complies with the declared functions. The PRK1U and PRK1UM devices can be used as a training teaching system for self-development, since each concentration that leads to the realization of the goal leads to the development of the next concentration of eternal life. All conclusions regarding the three-mode device for developing concentrations of eternal life, PRK1U and PRK1UM three-mode, also apply to the system of 24 three-mode devices PRK1U and one device PRK1UM three-mode. At the same time, the efficiency of a system of 24 three-mode PRK1U devices and one device PRK1UM three-mode is higher, since in accordance with the patents for the inventions, a method for preventing disasters and a device for its realization and an information transmission system, the normalizing effect is enhanced when a system of 24 PRK1U devices and one device PRK1UM3 mode is used simultaneously. This is also confirmed by physical and mathematical calculations and test reports and results. Well, the signature, expert Strakhov, and a group of experts. The results of the work of the users of the device are presented in a two-volume book, a link to which can be indicated by the organizers of the conference. I would like to introduce everyone present to my results from using the PRK1U device in a medical setting. This is the result of 2019, in July of this year. My employee at the company where I work, Evgeny, contacted me. He said that he was informed that his grandfather, Vladimir Grigorievich, who is in Moscow, had fallen ill with COVID and was hospitalized. The condition was getting worse. He was not informed immediately after hospitalization. His grandfather was 84 years old, so he felt unwell, severe shortness of breath, and impaired functioning of the gastrointestinal tract. He couldn't consume anything, some kind of food, because there was severe nausea, although he really wanted to eat. Still, trying to take some kind of food led to vomiting. It was impossible. Then his condition worsened, and he was diagnosed with bilateral pneumonia. Well, this is where the grandson who worked with me was informed. He told me I introduced him to what I was doing, the teachings, technologies of Grigory Petrovich Grabovoi. Well, he didn't show such interest, but then I suggested. I asked, will you work? If you do, you need to save your grandfather. I'll tell you how. He expressed such a fervent desire, I quickly told him the technology of healing from COVID, gave him the text how to work, printed it out on paper, and offered to immediately do the control using two numerical series given by Grigory Petrovich. Well, the technique to use work with a device profiled according to medical profiles specifically for healing from COVID. I opened this device on my phone, a video broadcast told how to work. We used the method of decomposing numbers into their component parts behind already in space behind the instrument panel. Then these separate forms of numbers, they usually fold into a ring in my perception. Then I project this ring, the light from this ring, from the component forms of numbers, usually down onto the objects of collective consciousness, the luminous reflected light, the spheroidal light. I already move forward with an effort of spirit to realize the goal of control, healing Vladimir Grigorievich, the fastest help. Well, he started working and quickly built up the control, the structure, the scheme. He started working and turned. Help, help. He just screamed because the control was crushing me. The darkness was heavy and I can't do anything. But I helped him. We quickly advanced the area of realization to infinity, to the luminous area, and we felt relieved. Well, the next day, he informed me that his grandfather was much better, but we continued to control using other methods, and after a few days, his grandfather almost recovered. but they didn't return him to the boarding house where he was for the elderly, but returned him to a separate building for quarantine. Although he was very torn, he swore to be let in where he lived. He has friends and acquaintances there. But then he was transferred anyway. At this control, it was in my office at work. Several other people were present. They asked, "What are you doing? What is it? What was going on?" They heard that Grandpa had practically recovered there in a few days. Well, I told them that this is Grigory Grabovoi's technology. They were so thoughtful. Then one asked, "So," he said, "is he the Messiah?" Well, I said yes. Grandfather, when he was transferred, he had a stable connection. He got acquainted with the situation there, back to the boarding house where he had previously lived, where he was. He said that on the day he was taken away by ambulance, 4 more people were hospitalized. That is, 5 people on that day. Well, we managed to save grandfather, and the other 4 people, elderly people, who fell in with the COVID, they died. So on November 8, I called this employee of mine, Evgeny, and asked how his grandfather was. It's been 5 years, in fact, since time we worked for him, cured him of COVID. He said that grandpa is the most alive. His health is normal, cheerful, happy. The man is 89 years old. These are the results. A few months later, one of the witnesses of that control, also an employee, a shift supervisor, contacted me, called on Saturday evening, but we were just at work. We were called for some problem and said, "I am sick. I am very unwell. I am suffocating. Severe shortness of breath. Save me." Those were literally the words. I said that I was at work, but then I realized that he was feeling very bad and that I needed to immediately do control. I was at work and in the shop without a phone, without a computer, but I just mentally imagined the device, launched the control approximately the same. Well, in general, before we were allowed to do the work for which we came, I sat for 20 whole minutes and controlled. And in general, he felt much better. This was on Saturday. I even thought that he would go to work on Monday, close the sick leave. But he says, "I felt great, but when I went to the hospital, I still had shortness of breath, and they didn't close my sick leave. And his lungs were also recovering for some time. But now he's alive, healthy, working, and helping me with work." I reported on my experience of using the concentration development device and knowledge concerning the PRK1U adjusted according to medical profiles. I also wanted to share with the conference participants the experience of using the concentration development device to control technical device. But I myself work in production in a large one. I constantly interact with equipment. I work as an adjuster, a supervisor, and with service personnel. My very first result of use is described in detail in the testimony of 2017. There is a large text, a lot of technical terminology, what and how happened. Anyone who wants can read it. It is posted in a 2 volume work on the results of using the PRK1U devices. Those who wish can get acquainted there. And I just wanted to further share the experience of using concentration development devices to control technical devices over the past 2 or 3 years. I periodically have to figure out all sorts of incomprehensible modes of operation of equipment, failures, and identify their causes. If earlier I just set up control and went to find the purpose of control, identify the cause of the malfunction, and fix it, well, in general, I laid down control in this way. And for the last 2 or 3 years, I have been formulating it a little differently. I set up the sphere of control. Well, as Grigory Petrovich recommends, I bring out the device, make it over the equipment, lower 3 beams onto 3 legs as it stands with me. Then I make technical devices as if plastic in my thinking and perception. Well, and in the sphere of control, I also include all the personnel who participate in this event. Well, either the work staff or the administratively, well, who is involved in solving some kind of situation that has arisen, yes, resolution. Now, I'm moving away from it and all a little bit. I also see myself among the participants in the sphere where I place people. Already myself, I step back and set a control goal to find, identify the cause of the violation or outline how to eliminate it or eliminate. It depends on the severity of that what is happening. And I have such an experience that when I do this, first of all, it is the transfer of knowledge immediately to people. It goes more intensively when I put it that way. And the experience is that people sometimes report, find. I spend less effort, time. People find the cause of abnormal work, come literally 10-15 minutes after the start of control and report. Young people, as a rule, recently working in production, they are apparently interested in everything. They are exposed. They are well managed. They perceive the transfer of knowledge and this light of eternal life. They find the cause, report that they have found it, and have already eliminated it. Either young people or people with whom I have already worked or on their healing, or else there were situations where events developed in such a way that I worked and also captured them by control. They provide some ideas on how to get out of the situation. That is, it's not necessary for me to find a solution by myself, to control so that I can find it. This is how it happens more efficiently. The dissemination of knowledge is developing. I also wanted to tell you about my experience of using interaction with the PRK1UM device. I would like to inform you that I participated in an online seminar in June 2024, 2 days on 23 devices, that is 22 PRK1U devices and one PRK1UM device. One. I don't remember 2 devices. So they were listened to a lecture by Marina Valerievna Maruskina for 2 days. And then there was time, a few hours for independent work on the goals that you set yourself. So, and I can share my perception of how it changed for me, what happened to me briefly. I can record that I managed to increase the control power several times compared to when I worked with the PRK1U before. I also noted that the PRK1UM device dynamically interacts with my thinking and detailed perception of time distant information appeared, both of the distant past and of the future. I began to perceive information and events down to the smallest details. I just go in there and everything is visible, everything is clear. In an active state of spirit, when I tune in to control in quick thinking, the PRK1UM device reacts instantly and new control angles open up immediately. You can enter such an active state and quickly carry out control, modify, adjust to achieve the desired result. I have increased the accuracy and speed of information perception. Right now, I feel or sense, I see how consciousness expands and my spirit rushes there too. Here, the use of the PRK1UM device allows me to achieve the desired result much faster and continuously increase control speed. Starting from June 2024, I myself work on 3 devices simultaneously when I do control: one physical device and 2 devices via the internet by video broadcast. I tune in and work. I also participate in the work of several small groups of controls. I, 2 people, work simultaneously on 3 or 2 PRK1U devices. I would like to share another observation that approximately in the middle of the summer, well, earlier I should say that I have been working intensively on the resurrection of people since about the second half of 2006, 2007, 2008. Well, and in general, I live in Novosibirsk. There are several groups here. Well, twice a week, in addition to individual work, group work was carried out, where controls for the resurrection of people, the immortality of the living, and eternal development in all systems, well, resurrected ones were included. We immediately put on the personal development of all systems. This is probably what had an effect, this experience, this development, when I began to use the PRK1UM device for resurrection control. Then, somewhere in July, I perceived such an information and saw such control structure. And I control, now I am sitting in a new apartment, but in 2006, 2007, 2008, I still lived in another apartment, in a house not far from here, opposite. I worked intensively on the resurrection. I kind of moved there as if I was controlling and sitting there. The devices were in my consciousness, but I was working there and I saw a window in front of me and into the yard, which in principle could also be seen from here. And there I saw such a structure appeared at the level of the 5th floor, somewhere 15-20 meters from my window. A golden sphere appeared in the yard above the surface of the earth, at the level of the 5th floor, 2.5 or 3 meters in diameter, and above it, not very high above it, such, well, in general, I call it a portal, like a window or door, an elongated and arced upper part. I realized that this was a portal, and from there, the resurrected were exciting. As soon as the image of a person appeared there, it was visible. Then this portal immediately flashed with such a bright blue light. Then a person descended into this golden sphere. Then a cone-shaped light went from it down to the surface of the earth. And then he went out essentially to the surface of the earth, and already touching the surface, the soil, he looked like an ordinary physical person, and he was dressed according to the weather. For example, this manifested itself in the summer, and I, for example, saw my dad as he came out, as if it was the end of autumn or the beginning of spring, such as the weather is now, and he was dressed accordingly. Moreover, I haven't set a goal for about a year now. I do not pull on myself to meet with me and let the situation go. I'm ready to meet, to help with all possible methods of physical adaptation control, but I, as if, give a person a greater opportunity to choose how he will behave in general. I simply organize the structure and offer help, but I'm not pulling it right now, working differently right now. I don't organize meetings specifically with me. And I see that people are coming out intensively. They look very businesslike when they somehow quickly, as if they have some tasks, move away somewhere towards the city center. Sometimes it's strong control, it's just a flow of people. Then I wanted to share once after the control, a resurrected former employee appeared on my perception and told me, "Look what I'm doing." But when I started looking there, I noticed that the space seemed to open up, and I saw him walking down the street of a small shopping center. He had already passed it, went to the corner, went inside. There I saw that there was a small cafe, ordered food for himself, sat down and began to eat. But then everything was flooded with silvery white color, and as if eternity with the light of eternity, even I would say there were also such iridescences of color. That is, he showed me that he adapts, he has something to pay for, order food, and in general, it means a physical body if a person eats food. So, in the last few months, in October, I received information that it's necessary to control crimes against humanity. These are events related to the mass death of people with all sorts of extrajudicial killings and persecution. Well, the end of armed conflicts, wars. I put this if people died in this on resurrection immediately, and I disband these events, normalize them, and we work with groups and extend the lines from the past from these events, normalize these events, extend them. There are billions of silver white lines to the current and to the future. They're in the direction of the point or even the area of general resurrection. This is the kind of work that is being done, was done, and is being done, and I wanted to share this with you.
И эти события расформирую, нормирую. Причем работаем мы это с группами, и выход продлеваем линии из прошлого от этих событий, нормируем эти события, продлеваем там мириады серебристо-белых линий до текущего и на будущее туда, в сторону точки или даже области всеобщего воскрешения. Вот такая проводится работа, проводилась и проводится. Вот этим я хотел еще поделиться.